Hello everyone, and welcome again to another UK sim review. It's Friday again, yay! It's weekend. Yes. Well, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to be looking at the London to Brighton route, which you can see the map in the background now. So yeah, what is it? What's it contain? What do you get? Who's by? Your usual stuff. You know the channel by now if you've been watching it. So yeah, we're looking at the London to Brighton route. For me, it's quite a. I'm a northerner. You can tell by the accent. I don't need to tell you that. But for me, London to Brighton route's always been a little bit sentimental. This, and I'm going a long way back now. This was the first add-on I purchased for Microsoft Train Simulator. So not the incarnation of Train Simulator we all know and love today. Definitely not the Dovetail Games one, definitely an RSC. The one I'm talking about was an add-on by European Barn, I think it was pronounced, for Microsoft Train Simulator, and that's probably 10 years old now, something like that. So yeah, it was one of them that obviously when I saw this for Train Simulator 3 years ago, something like that, 4 years ago, it was a no-brainer for me to get. You know, obviously the graphics are so much more better than what they were back then, and yeah, it's a good route. But hey, I've got to tell you about that, haven't I, and why? So yeah, what is it? What do you get with it? Well, it is by Dovetail Games. That's the publisher. However, it's one of the original RSC ones from 2012. It is London to Brighton. It's exactly what it says on the tin. So it starts at London Victoria, and it covers the 50 miles. So it's a decent length route. Obviously, it's one of the older ones. You know, the new stuff tends to be shorter. But yeah, this is one of the older, sort of more original routes. There's a decent bit of length to it. So it's 50 miles. It starts at London Victoria and it goes all the way through to Brighton. It covers all the famous stations on the way. So you've got Battersea Power Station, you've got Clapham Junction, East Croydon, Gatwick Airport, all those sort of iconic sort of South London train stations, really, on probably one of the most busy routes in the UK, I think, is this one. You get that. There's no sort of it doesn't go off to anywhere else. You know, some routes obviously got little branch lines and things like this. There's a couple of portal things that you can there. You know, I hate obviously starting scenarios not at a station, but I know some of the scenario packs do start at a station, at portal, before actually merging with the main line. But there's no sort of different ways of going or anything like that. So it's just the point-to-point route. There is a little bit of a split where the up-down fast line sort of splits away slightly from the up-down slow lines, but it's kind of as it crosses over and goes through some tunnels. If you play, you'll see what I mean. What else do you get with it? So you get the Class 377 Electro Star in Southern livery. Now this is the first time this was ever out as a loco. It's appeared in lots of other routes now. If you've seen my review from last week for the Chatham route, yeah, it's in that. Or is it? I think it's 372, something like that. It might not be exactly the same, but the model's exactly the same in terms of graphical model, if you know what I mean. It's appeared all over the place now anyway. So you get that. The one thing I do like about it, so I've sort of criticised routes in the past where, you know, London to Ipswich was a prime example of this, where they'd included a new locomotive with it, but they only gave you that, so everything you ever saw was that loco, and it made it a bit boring and a bit dull, and there's no variety whatsoever. There is a non-drivable Class 450 in South Western livery that's included. which on a couple of scenarios you do see at Clapham Junction going past, but the rest of the route you only ever see class 377s. And speaking of that, you get 3 free roaming scenarios and 12 playable scenarios, which is, it's a hell of a lot of scenarios. Is that for a route? It's probably the most number of scenarios I've seen on a pre-packaged route. They're all right. Like I said, it's one of the older routes, so you need to bear that in mind, because they can suffer from that sort of post-apocalyptic railway syndrome, where you don't see anything for ages. The scenario you can see me playing in the background now is actually an Armstrong Powerhouse one, so hence why it's really, really busy and there's lots of trains passing by and everything. But it gives you guys I think a better feel for the sort of stuff that you potentially could see, and what it should look like if you added some of the packs. But yeah, the default scenarios are a bit wooden. They're not the new stuff. Watch my review from last week. They've actually got proper train numbers on them, and are trying to simulate real services. The older routes, certainly from 2 years ago plus, it was just like, here's a scenario, and it wasn't based on anything real or anything like that. It was just making some scenarios up, and some of them. I haven't done the Liverpool to Manchester route. I will rant like you won't believe when that one happens. But anyway, you get the idea. They're all right, but I'd strongly advise, if you're buying this, then have a look at Armstrong Powerhouse's website and have a look at the scenarios that you can get for that. So yeah, you get the class 377. You see a non-drivable 450 every now and again. It is every now and again. You get 12 scenarios, 3 roaming scenarios, and 50 miles of London to Brighton. Obviously, this London Victoria station is used in the South London line. It's used in the Chatham line, so there's a nice bit of overlap of routes appearing down there. So yeah, I think that's great. So how much is it? What's it going to set you back? Have you got any other options? So this has been pushed into the Dovetail Games Classics series. Obviously, it was, well, not obviously, you don't know. It was released on the 7th of June 2012, so it's 4 years old now. And actually, I'm surprised it doesn't show its age. North London line, I'm talking rubbish. West Coast Main Line North, I think the scenery in that is now starting to show its age. You can tell it's one of the early routes that was made for it. And while it's fantastic, and it's definitely my benchmark for playability and variety and all that kind of stuff, this the scenery in it looks a bit dated. This still looks really, really good. I mean, look at this now. Detail on the wall, the trees, everything about it looks as good as some of the new routes. You line South London Network up against this and the Chatham route, the 2 new ones, then there's not much in it. I still think this, for 4 years old, this still looks really, really good. Coming back to that variety thing, obviously, it predominantly is passenger stuff. I mean, you go along the line and I've not found any sort of real depots or anything you can do. There's a few sidings here and there, but nothing with sort of significance really. As it's in that classics pack, as I was going to say, it's now down to $14.99, which isn't expensive at all. You can buy it as a few different collection packs, but for some reason they've packaged up like foreign locomotives with some of it. You can get some German thing, first capital class 319, London to Brighton, Munich to Augsburg, I think it's pronounced, and a Southern class 421 for $29.99. Yeah, I'm not into foreign stuff. We're UK sim reviews, and we will always be UK sim reviews. There's a couple of other packs for it, but not anything that would interest me. Maybe different for you guys. So yeah, that's it. $14.99. Is it worth the money? Well, it's 50 miles, 12 scenarios, and you get class 377. If that 377 wasn't, popping up here, there and everywhere now. Originally I'd say that's good value for money. Well, I'd say it was a bargain actually. So now you're kind of just looking at going, well, it's really just the route because you've probably got it in everything else. But 12 scenarios, I mean, scenario packs with sort of 6-8 scenarios are a £5. So yeah, they're not that great, but you know, it's a start. If you've never done anything, it's a very sort of enjoyable route to drive. You know, it's quite varied, being that you've got the slow and fast stuff. You know, round sort of Clapham Junction, it's sort of 40-30 mile an hour-ish stuff, and you get to stretch your legs as you get further out into the countryside and down towards Gatwick and things like that. So yeah, that's my review of London to Brighton. I've got it. I think it's probably a no-brainer to buy. You know, it's pretty much an iconic route for the UK, and if you get the add-on packs, which there are lots now, you'll have hours and hours and hours of fun with this. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it informative. If you have, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you same time, same place next week for another review. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.